Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Experience Maker. This is episode 14 already. We've been at this for 14 weeks. Seems like we just got started, but we're back with another great guest today, and I am very excited to introduce you to him. Mike Small is the CEO of Americas at Sitel Worldwide, a terrific company that I've had the pleasure of working with on a couple different places. In fact, we shared a stage last year at a live event, and also Sitel has been a very generous sponsor in the past of our Experience This podcast. So Mike is the guy that knows all things customer service and customer experience, so it should be a great discussion today. Let me welcome to the show, Mike Small. How you doing, man?
I am doing great, Dan. It's great to see you again. I hope you and your family are safe.
Well, thank you. We are doing our best. We are, that meme going around where every day of the week just says day, the mon, to, and when they're all like crossed off. That's exactly how we feel. So yeah. I'm not sure I can tell you what day it is today other than I think we broadcast on Thursday.
Thursdays it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see you again. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you as well. So for people that don't know about Sitel, can you start by telling us a little bit about your organization?
Absolutely. Sitel is a company of passionate leaders that are obsessed about CX experience, client experience. Our focus within both empowering brands as well as serving our customers is also serving our associates. So we are over 80,000 associates strong. And our focus and our approach is a great associate experience will empower a great CX experience. We have fantastic capabilities in both digital as well as our operations. We focus on learning. We focus on data and analytics across a global set of clients that we bring fantastic brand experiences with. Best part of the job is working with our associates and working with our clients.
That's awesome. And I, of course, neglected to mention that, of course, we are also partnering on another podcast, which is the Experience CX Now podcast put out by Sitel. Had a pleasure of co-hosting that one as well, which is a super fun. In fact, I believe you guys last week unearthed a video that I wasn't sure I remembered existed of me trying out your virtual reality equipment.
That was pretty cool. Yeah,
which was pretty fun. Yeah, it was really neat.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned your associates, and one of the things that I remember distinctly from the live event last year was that you brought up some of your best agents onto the stage, your award winners, and you put them in front of everybody. You let them talk. You sort of made them part of the experience, and I loved that because, let's face it, there's a lot of companies that do what you do, but what makes you different is the people behind it, and that can be said about almost any company. Is the people behind it is what makes us different. So tell me about how you. I guess what I'm saying is that it takes a certain type of company to want to highlight a customer service agent at an event like that. So tell me a little bit about the thinking that went into it.
Well, it starts with our values. I mean, I'm at my home office like everyone else, and many Sitelers have our values on the wall, right? And that's something that we take very seriously. Wowing our customers, working together, building trust. These are key elements of what we want to be known for as a company. And that to me is empowered with a great associate experience. And when we think about building trust and working together, being bold, we think about how can we actually tap into the genius of our associates, and that's really what you saw at that event. I give a lot of credit to our founder, Olivier Camino. He drives all of the organization to be obsessed around the associate experience in terms of driving and empowering our fantastic brands and customers that we support. So we actually have a program where we recognize quarterly, semi-annually, and annually our C-experts. And those C-experts are, across our entire organization. We do call listening sessions, we score, and we actually provide coaching and feedback to all elements of our organization. And we most importantly try to listen to our associates. And through our My Associate Experience, our MAX, and you can find out a lot about our MAX program, this is really where we listen to our associates. we tap into their collective genius, and we empower them to find a voice. One of the things that we're very passionate around Sitel is everyone has a voice. And that starts with a new leader that's joining us the first time in a job with either call center or one of our digital experts that is responsible for technology and data analytics. Every single member of our team has a voice. We live the values, and part of that is to ensure that we're giving everyone an opportunity to grow and expand.
I think that's great, and I really do think that shone through at the event, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to pivot for a minute, and again, this is an unscripted show. Mike does not know any of the questions I'm going to ask him, so I wanted to have some.
I do not.
I actually intentionally wore this T-shirt today because it's one of my favorite T-shirts. It's a phrase from former Chicago Cubs manager Joe Madden, and of course, he meant it from a baseball perspective. But I think it's one of the best customer experience mantras around. Tell me your reaction to my shirt.
My reaction to your shirt is I've been living Do Simple Better for the last 2 months. Let's talk a little bit about COVID. And, COVID-19 has changed our industry, has changed how we are approaching all aspects, whether it's business continuity, whether it's re-examining the CX experience. And we are testing new approaches. We are testing new programs. We are testing new solutions live. And I want to take a minute to recognize all of our over 400 plus Sitel customers. I have not had one experience in my career when I can point to which has driven so much change in such a short period. And I have to say, it's a blessing to work with the clients and the brands that we have the privilege of working with, putting our associates first. And that has been just humbling to see, and frankly, it empowers all of us to wake up in the morning and do more and push harder. If we did not adopt that type of mantra, simple, better, speed, security, thinking through what we are doing in the best interest of both our client brands and this unprecedented event that we're all working through, we would not be in a position where over 40 plus thousands of our associates are working from home. And today, that keeps our associates paid, that keeps our associates with gainly livelihoods, that has enabled continuity for many of our customers. And to make that type of seismic change in such a short period of time, is a testament to the Sitelers that have worked tirelessly over the last 2 months. And I know many associates around the world and many of our brands and companies have done similar feats. And for that, I just have to say, simple approach to doing excellence is the best way that I think we can all kind of get past and move past this unprecedented event together. So I think your shirt is exactly what we've been living through over the last couple of weeks when we're talking about trying to solve problems.
Well, it is interesting because during this time, everything that we've learned becomes a little bit more acute. It becomes a little more focused right now than maybe ever. And you mentioned business continuity meetings, and I'm thinking to myself, how many of those meetings at how many companies across the country did people just sort of sit and roll their eyes or check their phones and say, well, this is never going to happen, and so why are we sitting here? And now all of a sudden we're dusting off these plans, and it's like, wow, we're living them right now. I don't think that's going to happen again. I don't think anybody's going to not pay attention in a business continuity meeting.
There's a lot that's changed over the last 2 months, and listen, we are all, as a country, as an industry, we are all going through unprecedented times, and the amount of loss that we've all experienced, I can't think of an event that's touched every one of friends, family, as well as our associates to the same scale as what we're all collectively dealing with. But what inspires me is the fact that we're not giving up, we're not throwing in the towel, we're not accepting that something can't be changed. And what we've been able to accomplish as an industry, because many of our friends, competitors, colleagues, we've collaborated together over the last 2 months, and we've helped each other. And I can honestly say there's no BCP plan that has prepared any industry or any client for this event. So collectively rolling up our sleeves and getting to work and doing has been, frankly speaking, some of the bright spots that have come out of this very traumatic experience.
Yeah, I agree. I'm working with a consulting client now where I spend some part of every day with them, and it was really interesting. Somebody said to me that she's engaged with her team more now than she ever was when they were in the same building together, because we have these daily stand-up meetings,
Right.
communicating more closely with each other. And so in a lot of ways we've learned not just new ways of doing business, but maybe better ways of doing business.
Very much.
And to that end, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Sitel is 40,000. It was 40,000 employees.
Correct.
Okay,
But
so
we have a total of over 80,000. So right now, our strategy is very simple. We started this over 2 months ago. We made sure that from a site facilities perspective, we ordered all of the various supplies as much as we could get our hands on to ensure that we were protecting and safeguarding our employees. And as in many cases, state, region, country has come out with guidelines, our strategy has been we will always act locally and ensure that we are in compliance, as well as keeping the safeguarding of our employees at the very top of our priority list. And as best as we can, we've done a very solid job of that. But that's what's been guiding us in terms of our true north as we've gone through this unprecedented event. As I look at our centers that are still open and at capacity, we're trying to ensure that we have safe distances. In many cases, the best BCP continuity plan was to ensure and scaling our at-home solution, our Sitel at-home solution. And that's really where over half of our workforce globally. And in many cases, we have entire centers that are completely at home across the world. And it does depend on geography as well as infrastructure capabilities that support work at home. But that response has been a highlight and a testament to all of the Sitelers that have worked tirelessly over the last few weeks and months.
So that's what I actually wanted to focus in a little bit on with you, because you have all these employees and you're in the customer service business, and most companies right now, the phone's ringing off the hook. At least as a consumer, it's very difficult to even talk to customer service people. So I imagine that you are busier than you've ever been.
Correct.
Plus, you now have had to adjust the work methodology for so many of these people and have them work from home. What I'm wondering is, does this new reality of working from home create future opportunities and really change the business in a way that maybe in some cases you don't go back, because I don't know, you've got the ability to recruit from now all over the place, or you have there's lots of benefits that maybe maybe in the past you were a little hesitant to move there and now you're there. So do you think that there's a part of it that'll stay?
I do. I think it's a great question. And we're working through by our clients. We have over 400 clients. And one of the things that our client services teams are working on tirelessly with our security teams, as well as our technology teams, is going through each and every one of our programs and proactively going back to our clients and saying, listen, short term, we do not believe that a re-entry back into our centers at the scale is possible because of social distancing. So we're going to have to continue this model. So first and foremost, operational excellence in every call, in every interaction, chat, email, interaction with our clients is foremost what we are known for. So we've got to superlatively execute at operations at home, as well as within our centers where we still have centers operating today. The second element of that is to look at security, risk, compliance, PCI certifications in many of our accounts, where we're going to go through and ensure we are adapting to the changing demographic of having so many of our associates at home and applying technology to best manage and secure and fortify our clients' data and infrastructure. That is of utmost importance and absolutely receiving a tremendous amount of our time, energy, and efforts. And the third element, besides the two that I just mentioned, is as we look at our industry, and this is really the heart of your question, are we in a moment where we can really embrace an at-home delivery model and really change the associate experience the CX experience, because as you mentioned, our labor pool is then in many countries national, right? And how do you ensure that you're able to effectively train, develop, build community, and still bring the associate into a great Sitel experience and Sitel customer and brand experience? And that's fundamentally where we are investing millions of dollars right now globally to really focus our energy to harness and bring forward that reality. Because it is a moment in our industry where I do believe many clients will look at operational KPIs and see significant improvement, see a significant opportunity to provide associates with a better associate experience, you know? And we absolutely are measuring and monitoring exactly that by program, by line of business, by delivery market, in order for us to, lead with data, because the data will tell that story from both a CX perspective, client experience perspective, as well as an associate perspective.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. I have to be honest, one of the things I've always been curious about is that in most countries, it seems like there's a couple of cities where all the call centers are located. And even in the United States, there's 3 or 4 cities that are sort of known as call center cities. And that always struck me as somewhat peculiar that, if you wanted to be a customer service agent, you almost had to go move to one of those cities. And if that starts to break down the walls and you really can recruit from all over, I mean, personally, I think this is going to be a benefit for all companies in hiring, because there's so many companies that have said, nope, we're never going to work from home. We're an at-home place. And then as they're forced into it, they're starting to realize, like this woman I referred to, that, oh my gosh, this might be better. And no, we don't want to all work from home forever. That's not what I'm saying. We still need the human interaction. We want to be able to go in and have happy hours and other stuff like that.
Exactly right. Exactly.
But I do think there's
one of our most recent, we do a lot of design thinking within Sitel. So, we're throwing up on the board right now a tremendous amount of new models, new ideas. And I preface this with saying every client will help define their own strategy, because a big aspect of work at home in terms of the future state is going to be, are we as a brand a work at home brand, or do we need that constant interaction in order to help build culture, brand affinity, and stickiness, for lack of a better term? We are having the exact same conversations. What we believe will be a future model is to really empower CX with maybe a different model around what a center looks like in the future. It may not be 1,000, 2,000 seat center. It may be an interaction center where you're going to be able to both work at home as well as have a connection to a center where we can train, develop, recruit, and really build that experience for the associate, in order to ensure our strategy is that we want our associates to stay with us and grow within. And in order to do that, that takes an investment. That takes an investment in your people, an investment in a cool place to work, right? And it starts with culture, values, and ensuring that you're rewarding, recognizing, and appreciating your talents. So as we continue to think through new models, we're going to reach out proactively and aggressively to our clients that want to embrace a new model. And then we're also going to be able to also continue to support the traditional models, because in many cases, in many industries, there will be a requirement to go fully back to center. What is a must is that we do not do so in our industry too prematurely, so that at the end of this, let's call it this first wave of what we're dealing with right now, we've swung the pendulum back in center, only to potentially have to go through a second wave of BCP planning if, God forbid, COVID-19 flares up again, as many scientists are projecting in the fall timeframe. So we've got to be cautious, we've got to be conservative, and we've got to be ready in terms of that potential eventuality. So definitely a lot going on in our industry that is changing the landscape and will change the landscape moving forward.
Yeah, I think those are great points, and frankly, again, a lot of them apply to most businesses. And in fact, obviously, even sports teams and other things are dealing with this. When do we go back? We can't go back too soon. We don't want to have the second wave, et cetera. So it is a challenge because you have to. It's not like we get to just sit around and wait. We have to work while we're doing it.
Right.
And it's that old adage of flying the plane before
Yeah,
you. It is kind of what's going on here. Uh,
absolutely.
we are talking with Mike Small, who is the CEO Americas of Sitel Worldwide. Again, a company that I have been very fortunate to work with on a number of occasions, and really highlights their team and their employees. And at the event last year, I couldn't help but think, man, this must be a really good place to work because everybody seems so happy and everybody seems to enjoy working here. So we sort of touched on it a little bit, but I want to go back to it. What are you seeing right now in terms of call volume, and how have you set up with everything else going on? How have you set up all of your employees to also be handling what I imagine is additional volume?
Absolutely. It really does speak to, every industry has its different storyline in regards to, call volume. We've had industries in travel and transportation that had a significant spike in March, and obviously with many airlines as well as hotels feeling the impact, the volumes have decreased significantly over the last few months. But I am glad to report I just finished with one of our large hotel clients. They're seeing their volumes starting to come back, which is a great sign and a great hope for all of us. Frankly, we want to see those industries bounce back and thrive once again. Just on that, we had a unique program with this client where we were able to work with them collaboratively to say, if some of your volume is down and our volumes are going up through the roof in other industries, is there an opportunity to collaborate and bring some of your associates in that may not have all of the various call volume on their end? So some interesting partnerships have developed over the last 2 months, and those are very fluid, and it's all around trying to get our associates back to work. And that it was probably the highlight. And many of our clients that have participated in that program with Sitel, our sincere thanks to you. That's always putting associate first and being able to keep our people gainfully employed as some industries, their volumes have gone up and others have gone down. To answer your question specifically, we've had to approach this through three various approaches. Number one, global scale. And that's really where Sitel has an advantage, is we've been able to move volume worldwide around the globe, in many cases ramping thousands of agents in different markets in order to continuously keep our existing clients served, as well as to serve new clients with expanding volumes. The second is digital first. And in many of our solutions, we've said, let's put a digital bot, let's put a IVR solution or a call routing solution that can provide customers a better experience than long hold times. And in many cases, those bots were developed in hours, not days and weeks. And that is a testament to how fast some of the responses have been in terms of how we've adopted and adapted to this very changing, fluid situation. And then the third and final is, as we have scaled our at-home deployments worldwide, we have employees working from home in every major market today. Some markets are 100%. Some markets are 30, 40, 50% at home. But we've done so in the following lens. Number one, employee safety. Number two, ensure that you've got the technology in their hands, as well as the security, the processes, the guidelines. We were very blessed that we had a very large Sitel at home footprint prior to COVID-19. So we were able to scale very fast and adapt and adopt many of our best practices across that through many clients. And then the third, and this is where there's always opportunities, is this is a partnership with our clients. We have to keep on communicating. And, I personally have been speaking with hundreds of our clients to ensure that if we can do something better, faster, learn, let's talk about it. Let's ensure that we're on the case. Let's also not be shy. Let's put whatever solutions, new ideas in front of them and spark the conversations, because we have all got to do and think differently. And I think the third and final point to that is we've got to act with a sense of humility. We are, overplayed and oversung in terms of many of the taglines today. We are all in this together. So I don't want to look at, from a CX industry perspective, if a competitor is doing something that I think we can absolutely adopt and ensure that we can make more pervasive for a singular experience, we're in this together. Let's share. And that is definitely, I've seen some real examples of collaboration within the industry that has really addressed client problems, and that makes us proud.
That's awesome. And I like what you said about innovation, that, this is the time for innovation. At least what I'm finding talking to different clients is people seem to be more open-minded now to innovation than they were before, and the need for speed in innovation as well.
Yeah.
A lot of times the big companies, and I know you have a lot of big company clients, it's like the idea is there, but the execution can be really slow. And I think one of the things that this pandemic has done is create that sense of urgency and the openness. I also noticed in there that you did drop the words empower customer experience or empower CX. And so that reminded me to throw up the website of Empower CX Now. That is a website that you can go to get content from Sitel, including the Empower CX Now podcast, which I am lucky enough to be a co-host of. And I just checked the site while you were talking, Mike, and there may or may not be that video of me playing around with the VR equipment on that site if you want to go check it out. So we're just about to wrap up, and I wanted to ask you one more question. It looks like Sitel has done a really good job of not only being reactive, which you sort of had to do right at the beginning, but then being proactive about how do we change our business model. What advice would you give to other companies, or what advice have you given to your clients to act in a similar way that seems, at least from you describing it, I'm sure behind the scenes there's still lots of chaos like there is in every company, but it seems like it's just very well thought out and smooth and focused. And how would you advise other companies to be able to take that same approach?
Well, first and foremost, it comes back to in order to, it may look easy and it may look like a well-oiled machine, but in order to truly execute with excellence, you need the right team. And we've invested significantly on our, in the making and the development and the empowering of our team. So I can't say anything but my heartfelt, sincere thank you to my team for what has been the highlight of both my career in terms of how I've seen a team, react, take on the challenge and make it happen, deliver. And that's our project management, our IT, our security, our account client solutions. Our team has come together as one team, and they do deserve all of the credit. But to answer your question specifically for others that are out there, I think it comes into, three key areas that we try to embrace. Number one is to listen to your associates and to listen to your customers. And not every one of our engagements is perfect. There's always opportunities. So the key is to listen. And the key is to ensure that you're empowering your team to react and to be humble, to absorb feedback, change, pivot, react to that feedback in order to hit and ensure that our clients are absolutely served. So listening to both employees and customers. The second element is to really use a lens of disrupt. Think differently. How do we disrupt how we have approached some of these traditional models and looking at it through a fresh set of eyes and being open to ensure that as our clients, as our employees, as our teams are bringing forward bold ideas, we are providing an environment that's accepting and able to respond quickly. And then the third is really aligning the teams and providing them what they need to be successful. And that's really where I feel sometimes we've had opportunities in the past. You spoke around the speed to react, the sense of urgency. I have seen the alignment of resource with both our customers as well as our own internal teams have operated at a speed and a scale that is mind-blowing. So from that perspective, as Churchill said, don't let a crisis be wasted. This crisis has brought out some of the best innovation and thinking, as well as the best execution and delivery that I have seen.
That's awesome, Mike. And I love that you said this was a highlight of your career. I think that's very powerful at a time like this. So I want to thank Mike Small, CEO of Americas for Sitel Group, for being here today. Really appreciate it. Learned a lot, as always, when I get to talk to Mike. Next week, we are going to have Annette Franz on. She is another friend. She's the founder and CEO of CX Journey and also a customer experience speaker like me. And we'll have another interesting conversation. So thank you all for joining us again on The Experience Maker. We'll be here next week, as we are every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn and Twitter. For The Experience Maker, this is Dan Gingiss. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dan.